It was on this day back in August 2014 when an 18-year-old black teen named Michael Brown was executed in broad daylight in Ferguson, Missouri. Good afternoon. Welcome to Injustice Investigations. I am your host, Al Scott. Thank you all for tuning in to our broadcast today. It is a special broadcast today as we pay tribute to 18-year-old Michael Brown. It's been 7 years since uh, his death. It went national when we found out that they were not going to hold uh, Darren Wilson responsible. As my mother would say, all hell broke loose. Good afternoon, James Hudson. Thank you so much. Uh, all hell broke loose in Ferguson, Missouri. They set police cars on fire. They burnt buildings down. It was a very dangerous, chaotic scene, and it didn't last for one night. It went on and on and on. Miss Davis, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Coincidentally, I went to Amen, amen, amen. So today, uh, we're going to pay tribute to Michael Brown. We're going to go back to that day on how things actually got started. Valerie, good evening to you. Love you big time. Blessings to you and yours as well. Thank you, Cameron. We must not ever forget these days, these anniversaries. We must not forget. And even if Black people wanted to forget these days, Black people cannot forget these days because it's in the past, true enough, but we cannot forget the past because the past continues to be our present. It started at around 11:48 a.m. Darren Wilson responds to a call about a sick child. 11:51 a.m. He receives a call reporting a robbery at a local convenience store in Ferguson, Missouri. The suspect, who has been identified as Michael Brown, allegedly grabbed a box of Swiss Sweet cigars and turned to leave the store without paying for them. Someone tried to stop Michael Brown, but Michael Brown grabbed that individual and pushed them away. Brown and his friend Johnson then left the store and headed down the street. At 11:54 a.m., Officer Darren Wilson arrived at the convenience store and got a description of the suspect from the store employee. He eventually found Brown and his best friend walking down the street. He arrives at 12:01 p.m. He encounters Michael Brown, 12:01 p.m. 12:04 p.m. Another officer arrives on the scene. By this time, Michael Brown has been shot. Jocelyn, my good friend, welcome, welcome. Ms. Moore, good evening to you and welcome as well. Now, you saw the time span in which one officer arrived and another one shows up. Michael Brown was shot at 12 times. 6 of those bullets hit Michael Brown. The bullet that ended Michael Brown's life is the bullet that entered into the top of his head. So the question came up, how did Michael Brown get shot in the top of his head? Well, it's really quite simple. Darren Wilson would have to be at least 7 foot to kind of stand up and shoot him in the top of his head. Or the more logical explanation would be Michael Brown had to turn around after being shot so many times, looking at him, and Michael Brown begins to go down, not because he wanted to go down. The shots were taking him down. And at that particular time, there was no need to fire any more shots at Michael Brown. The shot that killed Michael Brown is the shot that entered into the top of his head. Elizabeth, good evening to you. Tammy, always 100. Good evening to you as well. I remember the story so well. I remember when the decision came not to prosecute Darren Wilson. Darren Wilson. All hell broke loose. We remember watching CNN and the crowd outside waiting. They're listening. As the announcement comes, we find no wrong in what the officer did. None whatsoever. So we asked the question, well, what has changed since 2014 as far as Blacks' encounter with police? Nothing has changed for the betterment. If anything, if we're going to tell the truth today, and we will, things have only gotten worse for Blacks in the United States when it comes to interacting with our police officers. Darren Wilson was placed on paid administrative leave after a public outcry. So they didn't do it because wanted to do it, left up to them. Yeah, all right, we won't say a word. But even to this day, we still have to beg, scream, cry, get on national TV, magazines, newspapers to get the law to do what they are paid to do. And that is uphold the law and hold those responsible when they commit crime. And stop saying a police shooting is a justifiable homicide. It is a homicide, but nothing about it is justifiable. Nothing about what happened to Michale Brown can be legally and with good heart classified as justifiable. Michale Brown was executed. Is Darren Wilson hiding? He's so big and bad. I bet he moved out of that area. It is sad. Valerie, this is Valerie making a comment about the police. So I actually, to be honest with you, I don't know where he's at now, but I will tell you what he did. And you all probably already know this, I'm bringing it up. Because it irked me while Michale Brown and his family were mourning the loss of him. And Darren Wilson was placed on paid administrative leave. He went and got married. His wife became pregnant. Now I might be wrong, but I'm gonna quote Snoop Dogg on this one. He was living his best life, while family, friends, and others like us was crying, upset, and pissed off. He was enjoying his best life. You hear me say it a lot, and I'll be saying it till the day I die. No officer should ever be put on paid administrative leave when he or she is at the center of an investigation. Administrative leave, yes. I don't need you collecting a check while somebody's burying someone. So today, we pay tribute to Michale Brown. We love him. We wish that he was still here. But when the powers that be, continue to do what they do, then we can only look for things to get worse with Blacks in the United States. You ask why we continue to scream, defund the police, defund the police, defund the police. Well, Mr. Scott, really, I understand what you're saying, but can you imagine? I mean, if we defund the police, can you just imagine a country without the police? Can you imagine how it would be without the police? You're damn right I can. For Blacks, it'll be a wonderful life. Yes, I can. It will be a wonderful life. And I don't want to hear the thing about all cops are not bad. Nobody has proven that, because the good cops never come out and speak against the bad cops. So when the good cops are there and they know about the bad cops and they don't say anything, to me, the two become one. The police department in this country do not protect blacks. I'm gonna say it again. The police department in this country do not protect blacks. So why in the hell do we need them patrolling our neighborhoods? Can I imagine what life would be like without police officers? As far as blacks are concerned, it'll be a wonderful life. It would be a wonderful life. As my nephew Toby said one night, maybe we need to go back to every black neighborhood, get some Black Panthers to deal with our issues. That's what we need to do, because even when you call them and it's a minor issue, you probably just signed your child or your loved one's death certificate. I still cannot understand how an 18-year-old teen was executed in broad daylight from the alleged crime of stealing, taking Swiss Sweet cigars out of the store. We've seen it. We've seen it. You also saw how the officer left that scene just to get to where Michael Brown was. That was an issue if the crime is true, but that issue that should not ever have elevated to 18-year-old Michael Brown being dead. It shouldn't have. It shouldn't have. And to watch his family, his mother, and his father, who were not together. I watched them at the funeral, do interviews. What was amazing about them, with all that they were going through, what was amazing is that they sat together, because whatever separated them, the child brought them back together. And they sat there with love, care, and concern for one another, because that individual that we're speaking about, it was their son. It was their son. It was their son. And regardless of how our youngsters dress, or what you think about them at the beginning of the day and the ending of that same day, those kids that you're talking about belongs to you. And we would like for our kids to be treated just like you treat the white kids when you go in their neighborhood. But that's not going to happen. So again, I said defund, 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 defund the police department. It's as simple as that. I love you guys. We thank you all for tuning in to today's live broadcast on Michael Brown. It was 17 years ago today. And again, we cannot forget the past, because the past continues to be our present. If Lord willing, I will see you all tonight at 7 p.m. Y'all enjoy your day. Michael Brown, we love you.